What's up, guys? So in a previous video, I had talked about getting the HP Tuners software and starting to work on tuning my cars, and then also learning more about tuning GM PCMs in general. And one question that I've gotten from people on more than one occasion is whether or not it's worth it, or whether or not they should look into tuning a basically stock car. And both of my cars are pretty close to stock right now. And since I'm sort of really liking this new 5 things format I've been doing lately, I have come up with 5 good reasons for tuning a near stock car. So let's get started with that, with the first one. If you have a supercharged 3800, but also in other cases, but one, tuning out the knock retard that's in your car. Almost every stock supercharged 3800 that I've seen has some knock retard stock, and that is timing that's being pulled because the engine is experiencing spark knock. So just being able to tune the maps, either adding fuel where it needs it to keep it from pre-detonating, or pulling back a little bit of spark on your own, or whatever, is an improvement right there. Number 2, and remember we said near stock, is the ability to remove and or modify emissions components, especially if you're in a state where the emissions testing is not very strict. I personally love to remove unnecessary things. Things like the EGR system, if it's big and bulky and in the way, or in older cars, the smog pumps and stuff. I'm always under the hoods of my cars, so whether it makes more performance or not, I just like having less crap to take apart. So for me, that was enough of a reason all by itself. The third thing, tuning the transmission operation. This, I think, in any automatic is worth tuning the ECU, because you have to remember that these cars, when they're set up, aren't set up for enthusiasts. The stock transmission programming, for the most part, is pretty mild, to say the least. And it's slushy, and you don't feel much of the shift, and there's a reason for that. The purpose for that is that your average car owner doesn't want the car to shift hard. They want it to be smooth. They want it to be super comfortable. So if you're trying to bring out the performance aspects of the car there's a lot to be improved upon there. Here's a little example. So that's definitely one that's worth doing. Other than that, 4, factory programming, for the most part, is the closest balance that the factory could come up with between fuel economy and performance, because those are the things that the people who buy cars want. However, if you can tune the ECU, you can push that more one way or another. If, let's say, the only thing you care about is economy, you can change the tuning in the fuel maps and spark and stuff, and you can make the car more economical. You might lose a little performance, but if that's not important to you, then that's going to be an improvement to you. The other way, if economy is not important to you and you're only trying to get every ounce of power and performance you can get out of a car, then you can push everything that direction. And maybe you'll lose some economy, but you can pick up power there. So it's more like you're tailoring the car less to the general public and more to you specifically. Other than that, another common thing that you see with GTP owners, or anyone who has a supercharged 3800, is being able to modify the fan on and off points, because factory, the low and high speed fans come on a little late. Like if you have a 195 degree thermostat, the high speed fan doesn't even come on until I think after 210. So if you're sitting in traffic, a lot of times you're running a higher engine temperature than even what the thermostat is set for. Second of all, if, like most supercharged 3800 people, you're trying to decrease knock retard, because that's what we do. By lowering the engine temperature, and you put a 180 degree or 160 degree thermostat in there, you are still going to have the fans not coming on until almost 210, which means when you're driving down the road, sure, you probably are staying about 180 degrees, but then when you're sitting in traffic, or you have to idle too long, or if you have to run sitting in grid at the drag strip, then the temperatures are going to creep way up because there's no airflow through the radiator until the fans kick on. Just being able to set those fan temps lower makes a difference, and to me is worth tuning the ECU. And the last thing, this is a bonus, is if you do your own car repairs, owning the software has an extra help that people may not be aware of, and that is being able to data log and being able to look at all the parameters in the ECU while you're driving, and then being able to record them and look at them later is a big help in figuring out weird problems. Like, for example, let's say you have a small dead spot somewhere in the TPS sensor, and looking at it sitting still, it looks fine, and driving it most of the time it's fine, but in certain situations, all of a sudden the car acts weird. Well, if you can data log that and then come back and look at it later, and oh, look, here I am cruising at part to half throttle, and suddenly the TPMS voltage drops to 0. Boom, there you've just found a problem. And to me, that's also worth owning the software and stuff. And yeah, in my case, $650 was worth it because I have 2 cars to tune, plus I plan on tuning other cars at the shop I work at and on, just my spare time at home, because I just enjoy tuning cars. But also, you don't necessarily have to have all that. Just having someone tune your ECU, which you can have people do for usually anywhere from $75 to $150 locally. And if they're tuning it firsthand, where they're there to drive it and data log, or even better, they can get it on a dyno, you're going to get fairly decent results. Mail order tunes are a little more sketchy because they have the same problems that the first tune had, in that they're tuning based on, generalizations and things they think that the ECU is going to need, but they're not there to actually see the data logs to drive the car, to make changes as you go along. But anyway, so yes, I think absolutely the software is worth having, and I've enjoyed every bit of it. So if you liked this video, if you found this informative, please drop me a like, leave me a comment, and let me know what you think about tuned ECUs or tuning ECUs, or any bad or good experiences you've had with them. And I will catch you guys next week. Thank you.